Welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name's Osatohamen.
And my name's Uyiosa.
And here we are for another episode.
Yeah, we're really excited about this topic we have to share with you guys today.
Yeah, we were thinking of like different things we could go through, and we were like, what is one thing that, we both kind of finishing off, the school years and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was like, we've both been to high school. Most of us have been to high school.
I'm almost done.
She's almost done. Only like, what, 3 more months?
Yeah, three months. March, April, May. Yeah, 3 months.
3 months.
3.5. Yeah.
But we were like, if we had to relive high school, what are things that we would do differently, or what are things we would do? And so we came up with a couple ideas and a couple, thoughts, and I guess maybe like things we hoped we did better, but things that were also were funny and
and hopefully entertaining to you guys. But yeah, just before we start, a little bit about our week. Today's Sunday, so we both went to church, and then we went to her birthday dinner last night, but her birthday was last week, Tuesday, the 4th. So just, I don't know, whenever you guys are watching this, it might
February
not be the
4th.
same. Yeah. And she turned 22. I got her a little gift. And yeah, we were just able to celebrate as a family and just, have a little...
We went to my favorite Japanese restaurant over in Dallas. If anyone lives in Dallas, it's called Hinodea. It's like this ramen place. So good. But like one thing that had been happening for the past, I guess like year, like I haven't been back in a while. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I really want spicy ramen. And so my siblings and I all decided to get level 10, which is like
the hottest level
and
ever.
We didn't think it was going to be that bad until I took one sip of the soup, and I was like, oh no.
See, I got a level 3, which is still like not the lowest. Like it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 10. Like they don't even have 5 through 9. They just skip straight to 10.
Yeah.
And so I got a level 3, which was actually still like pretty hot, but it was bearable. Like my nose was still running. And I was like, imagine if I got in the 10, I would not be okay. Like
we were dying. It was something.
It was something, but the food was good. It was definitely worth the. Yes. Actually, we didn't even wait, but we did have to drive an hour because we don't live in Dallas directly.
We live in a suburb.
Yeah, but kind of just to jump in. The first thing we were both like thinking of, because I'm almost done with high school. She's been out of high school for 3.5, almost 4 years.
It's gonna be 4 years this May.
Yeah, 4 years almost, and like I'm about to enter into the 4 years of college. We were both just thinking of like something that we both not that we don't do this, but kind of we wish we did more is building relationships with people from different backgrounds and even just like views and beliefs. Because it's definitely. It's not that it's hard, but I feel like when you surround yourself with people that think the same way as you, it's easy to get kind of trapped in that mindset, which isn't always a bad thing. No. It's not always horrible, but sometimes, it's good.
Comfortable,
Yeah, it's good to have an outside perspective. And I actually have an example of this. It's not this is more of like unserious, but like Christmas was like a month and a half ago, a month and 2 weeks. Yeah,
it's February. No, yeah, it is February.
Yeah, second week of February, so about a month and a half. And so one thing I didn't know is that, and I don't know if this is normal for most people. I mean, most people I know don't do this, but like for us, Christmas Eve is always like, this is when we play songs and like eat dinner and like do all the family celebratory stuff. That's always like Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, we just open the gifts and the rest of the day is just relax. But I actually met someone who they did everything on Christmas Day. Like that's when they eat the food, they play their music, family comes in town, whatever. And they open the gifts, but they open the gifts from Santa on Christmas Day and the gifts from like their parents on Christmas Eve. So they almost like split up. And I was like, that's so weird to me. I was like, I always thought Christmas Day was like gifts and nothing else. And then I met someone, I'm sure there's more people that do this. So I was like, I didn't know that Christmas Day was like, everybody's like oh, this is like Christmas, because I guess it kind of, Christmas Day is supposed to be like, oh, this
Yeah.
is the day, and then
But that, like, honestly, that's kind of smart though, because, like, you know, we all believe in Santa, of course. Santa's gonna come on Christmas Day, but not necessarily like the parents' gift, right? So you kind of want to separate
that's
that.
true. I do
So the
think the
kid, that's
separation,
smart. I
yeah.
think that that's really, really smart.
The separation thing is good, especially because she still has siblings that are like younger, so it's like they they believe in Santa, and Santa is real. Santa's
He
real.
is real.
He is real. He knows when you are sleeping.
Yeah, and he knows when you're awake, and he knows if you've been
Bad or good.
Yeah,
so
bad
be
or good.
for goodness sake. Oh, that was so cringy. Ew. Anyway,
But I mean, I think that's such a great point, that like you learn something about like this friend of yours that like your whole life you've always just thought, oh, Christmas Eve is this, Christmas Day is that. But like if you had never met this person, if you've never exposed yourself to someone of like a different like background in just terms of how they celebrate Christmas, like you would have never even known that. And you like, it's actually maybe even in the future, you're like, oh, that's actually a good idea. Maybe I should adopt, parts of that. Yeah. And so I think it's so important that we need to like diversify our friendships, diversify the people that are around us. I think that too many times we have this like this bubble mentality where we're like surrounded by the exact same people that think the exact same way. And like, how can you learn anything if you are exactly the same?
Yeah, if you're exactly like all of your friends and everyone that's around you.
Yeah.
Which like, it sounds like in a perfect world that would be amazing if you just never had conflict, you never disagreed with the people around you.
It's boring,
like,
right?
Yeah, it gets boring. It does.
Like, I mean, just imagine like you're all just like, I mean, girls, we love to like talk to our girlfriends about just like, the same things over and over again. But sometimes you like having those like conversations. Like I have this friend, one of my closest friends, we were talking about, this something to do with like a government decision in a state. And, I felt one way about it. She felt the other way about it. And like in almost everything, we think exactly the same. But like, I think this is one of the first times as adults that we were able to like kind of have a conversation where we're like, oh, two different viewpoints. And it was like, it was interesting. It's not just like, oh, let's talk about boys. Let's talk about this. Because like, I mean, I still love that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, don't worry.
But like diversifying, like even in your friendships, diversifying what you talk about, like the kind of culture and the kind of ideas that you're bringing to your friendships. I think that that's so important.
Yeah, honestly. And it's really cool to learn. Like, I feel like people are kind of like low key about their cultures nowadays. Like, I don't know what my friends do, but like, because we live in Texas, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Diwali's actually pretty big in Texas, especially in the area we live in. So people do like lights and they do parties and there's food, and like people are super big on it. But like my friends don't talk about it at school, but then they'll make a post. I'm like, this is actually really cool. Like I would like love to be like a part of this, even to just like understand it, because I had no idea what it was.
I want the food.
Yeah,
and I want to
I'm sure the
dress
food's great.
The cultural outfits, like
they're so pretty.
That's one of my things about just like other cultures. I absolutely just love looking at like different clothing and different like foods and everything.
Especially Asian culture,
African culture, like Hispanic and Latino culture. Like. Yeah, South America. Like, it's just, like, so interesting. And so, I don't know. I feel like if I never had been exposed to that, like, if I've never, broadened my horizon on different cultures, I would be stuck in this mentality of, like, oh, everything's the same. Everything is, like, this suburb I've always lived in my whole life. No, the world is so vast. And, like, making relationships and friendships with people with different cultures is so important. And I don't know, I love that going to college, I had like that opportunity to meet
for sure
so many different people. Like that's one thing I think that most people can say about college is you actually meet people from like all walks of life.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like college, like people can literally be coming from internationally or different states, different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages, different beliefs. So it's like college is really just like a time where you're literally meeting random people. In fact, I literally just saw a reel. It was like when you go to like when you have icebreakers on the first day of college and you're meeting like the 50-year-old like dad who's coming back to like school college or graduate school or whatever. And it's like, that's like, it's crazy, but it's also like, wow, that's so interesting because it's like these different, he has so much more experience in life than you do. And it's like, he can still go to college. And that's the great thing about college and just life. It's like you can literally meet people of such different backgrounds and be friends with them. Like I remember I was friends with like people when I used to lifeguard at this other place like 2 summers ago. There were people that were like 26 years old and I was like friends with them. And I was like 16 and it was like weird, but it's just like, it's so cool because they've been through college or they didn't go to college or like whatever, but it's like they've had so many experiences and it was cool. You know?
No, that's the funny thing about like when you work, you like literally meet people like, especially if you're super young, because like when I turned 18, I worked in Macy's. Would not recommend. But
I'm sure some are better than others.
Yeah, I'm sure. But the people there were great. Like I loved my coworkers and everything. But like a lot of them, like we all became friends, but they were like literally like ranging from like 30 to like 60. Like I kid you not, I was having like conversations with like women that were like 40 years old and they were like
your mom's age.
Yeah, and then one woman was like, yeah, I'm just working here because I want to buy my own stuff, like buy my own bags. I'm like, okay.
That's so real. That's actually really funny because I literally met someone today that was telling me about, they were telling me about a friend they had who's like their dad was out of town and they were like, yeah, we don't know what to do. Our dad does everything. He cooks, he cleans, he pays the bills, he does everything. And my mom just goes to Pilates and like, she just goes to Pilates and watches TV. And they only have one kid though too. So it's like, and she's in high school. So it's like, there's nothing else to do. But I was like, I want that. Can I have that? Like it sounds really bad, but like you can't tell me you guys would want to be going to Pilates and like book club with your other mom friends reading like Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Or what's the other one that like you always read that they always read? Wuthering Heights or whatever.
I don't know. Any Jane Austen book.
Yeah, it's always Jane Austen or something.
It always is. But yeah, no, I love cultures and I think it's so important that we surround ourselves with different people. And you have to go out and look for that. Like you can't just expect that to like come to you. Like you can't just be at
your door.
Yeah, you can't be in your bed and you're like, "Oh, I want to experience this like culture. I want to experience like this kind of different viewpoint from me." Just sit in your room and expect that to happen. It literally will not. You need to go out, get out of your room. And we're saying this because we also like low-key sit in our rooms. Sometimes.
Even when me and my friends hang out, sometimes it's just at our houses.
Yeah. Or like go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, you go to like the local like place everybody goes to.
Everyone's there.
Yeah.
So get out of your room, explore, meet new people, and I don't know, diversify your friendships and diversify your relationships. And I think that would just make this world a better place because who doesn't just like love traveling and exploring and everything?
Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine who likes just sitting around. I mean, if you do, there's nothing wrong with that.
I like sitting around too.
I love sitting around, but yeah.
Yes, this is a message to you, but it's also a message to us that we all need to stop sitting around and explore more.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I will say, another thing about high school, well, almost college for me, but
almost 3 months.
A couple, well, more like 6 because it's summer.
Oh, that's true.
But high school, one thing I will say that I won't say I regret, but things that I definitely wish I did different was choosing classes. Like first, like choosing AP, on level, advanced, IB, whatever honors, whatever like system you guys have, choosing the right classes that you know is going to be good for you. Because I will 100% say there were classes I took that I clicked on it because it said AP, or I clicked on it because everyone said they were taking it, or I clicked on it because I was like, I thought I could do it, or, you get to the 6-week mark where most schools like have an option to drop an AP or an advanced class. And I just didn't because I was like, oh, I'll slug it out. But I'm like, looking at it now, I shouldn't have done that. Like my GPA first of all would be higher and my mental health would be better because I wouldn't be like thinking like, oh man, like I had that one grade from the sophomore year because whatever.
As we established last episode, Yosa is not. She's been like anti-school since like COVID.
7th grade. 5 years going strong, guys.
But yeah, no, same with me. Like there were AP classes that I don't know. There were AP classes I felt like I shouldn't have taken. I should not have taken AP physics.
I will second that. I shouldn't have taken AP physics either. I shouldn't have taken
that. I don't know what in my mind thought that I knew how to do physics, that I could do it. Like, I don't even want to remember my grade in that class. It was all bad. And it was also like...
There was a curve.
Yeah, there was...
There was a big curve. 70% curve. So that means a 30 turned into a 75. I think they changed it now.
No, it was. There's always the class is so hard that there's always a curve.
The AP exam, like the end of year exam for that class, also had a curve, and it was also like 60%. Like it was insane. Like you could get, because it's for those of you that don't know about AP, it's 1 to 5. Basically, if you miss like half the test, I think you could still get a 4. Like that's how I think. Don't quote me on that.
Maybe I must have gotten everything wrong.
Yeah, my score was not good for that.
I don't even care. It's done. It's been like 5-6 years or whatever.
It was last year for me.
But like, I mean, like classes like that. Like I don't like in the moment. I was like, oh, I have to take this AP class, this AP class. But like looking in like it's hindsight, right? Looking like back. Like, there was no need for me to take that. Like, I studied biochemistry in college, and, like, I already knew I was going to take physics in college anyway.
Exactly. So with a real professor.
Why did I take it in high school? Like, why did I take AP physics in high school? I could have taken AP chemistry. I didn't even, I am a chemistry major.
I'm in AP chemistry right now. It's also horrible. I didn't take
chemistry in high school. Like, I mean, I didn't take AP chemistry in high school. I just took, 10th grade chemistry, like the advanced version. And so I'm like, why didn't I take the classes that would actually benefit me? Because I was like, oh, everyone else is taking AP physics. I have to take AP physics.
I know. It's almost like this mindset of oh my gosh, they're in AP physics and everyone said it's hard, but it's oh, I have to do it. And
you don't.
Yeah, I know. For when she was in high school, apparently it was required, but now it isn't. Now it isn't required anymore. That's so crazy. I actually didn't have to take it. I don't know why I did.
I could have taken it on level. I saw the kids next door and they were all smiling.
My friends would literally cheat in on level. They would have their computer out and the teacher would be like, well, because who cares? There's no AP exam.
We don't condone cheating. We do not cheat in school.
Yeah, we don't cheat, but...
But, I mean, it would have just been so much easier. And so, for me, looking back on, what I would have done differently is that I would have, maybe, in freshman year or in, right before middle school when I'm picking out my class, I would have, maybe done a little more research onto, okay, what am I thinking of doing in college, and then what classes are going to prepare me for it? If you're not going to be doing something with chemistry in college, maybe don't take AP chemistry.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be doing something with physics, or you're probably going to do physics again in college, maybe don't take AP physics. But that doesn't mean, don't push yourself, because you don't want to be complacent, right? You want to still be able to prepare yourself. One thing I noticed, because I took on level government and economics, I didn't take AP because it was COVID. COVID was a whack time, so I was like, oh, I don't want to take this, and so I ended up just taking on level, and it was so easy. And so that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
And so definitely find the balance of okay, if I know I can do this class, but I'm not necessarily going to use it, or I may use it later on, should I take it, should I not? Weigh the pros and cons. Don't overload yourself, but also don't underload. I don't know. You know what we mean. Yeah, don't hinder yourself and your progress in learning by doing everything easily. Yeah. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
And honestly, just another thing, like with those classes, especially the classes that you know are not meant for you, you're not meant to take, the procrastination and the studying that comes with it. Like, I'm in AP chemistry right now, and yes, I study for the class, but it's like it's hard, and I'm like, I really wish I didn't take that class. But honestly, and also in my defense, I'm a senior, so my options were pretty limited because I took AP Physics, I took chemistry, like our advanced chemistry, advanced bio. So I really only had like AP Chem, Physics C, which is like the even harder version of physics.
Or AP Bio, right?
Yeah, or AP Bio, which is also difficult. So it was like my options were pretty limited. And I didn't want to take, like, again, I didn't want to take like those easy, like there's an astronomy class. Like, I didn't want to take like a class where I knew I wasn't going to do anything. Thinking of it now, I should have. Don't take hard classes your senior year. Don't do it.
No.
But
same with college. Maybe we'll do a video on college, but don't
do it.
Don't overload yourself.
Whatever you think, whatever motivation you have in the beginning of the year, it's going to be gone.
The motivation is a trick. It's your mind thinking that you can do all these things, but then by the time senioritis ends up hitting
it'll
you,
kick in quick too.
You're like, okay, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, I know. I genuinely don't like that class, but like, I'm not a big procrastinator either. So this year has really been hard for me because I always do my work. I always get everything done, but it's so hard. Everyone says senioritis, but like it really is hard. And if I had taken easy classes, I wouldn't be here right now. So guys, I'm not saying take all on level, and I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm also saying think through your senior year classes, especially second semester, because most people are accepted into college and whatever. Just don't do it.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. Like, I think another thing is like when you're studying for these classes, like they're super, super difficult. Like most of these classes are really hard. And I think that you need to learn how to study for them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes teachers are not enough. Most times, actually, they're not even the bare minimum. Yeah. They're just, I genuinely, I'm like,
they're
what
just
did you
there.
teach me? Like, I go to class and I'm like, I come home and I'm like, okay, time to reteach myself. And I think finding those resources, literally YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube.
YouTube is a lifesaver.
It is a lifesaver. Like, the people literally will just make random videos and just post it. Or it would be like teachers or like college professors who are like, oh, I'm already teaching this class anyway. Let me just record it and put it on YouTube and make some money from that. And so many people like do that. Like, and so using those resources, especially for these like harder classes, AP Physics, AP Chemistry, AP Bio, like doing that and like allowing yourself to like study and to not maybe help with that procrastination, because that is such I hate procrastination. It's a struggle for me. It's something that I am working on every day, but having those resources on YouTube, on the internet, on whatever is like literally a godsend. And I don't know how they did it back then.
Yeah, I wouldn't have survived. My chemistry teacher was showing us like an old AP exam from like 1980, because AP exams have AP College Board, whatever the company's called it, apparently has been around for like 60 years. So there he was like, but I'm assuming less people took it back then because like one, it was expensive, and two, like it was easier to get into college. Like you didn't need like all these like 1600 SAT and all that stuff. But he was showing us a test from 1980 and he was like, y'all can't even touch this. It's like it was organic chemistry in like a high school class. Like it's the stuff you were doing. Like he was showing, he's like,
I think IB classes do that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, I'm glad I wasn't born 40 years ago to be able to do that, because it was so hard. I was like, who's doing this? But it really does show how they kind of dummied down.
Like, I think they just have made it so that it's not, there's no rush. Yeah. I feel like it was so much of like, we need to push this, but like, you're going to learn it in college anyway. Like, why are you stressing like
for real,
a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid to do this?
I can't believe 16, 17-year-old kids were doing organic chemistry in high school. I mean, like, I know there's a club at my school, but like that's by choice. Like that you take
There's
time.
an organic chemistry club
Yeah.
in high school?
Yeah. I know.
That's strange.
I know they were trying to certify an organic chemistry class.
Like
an
don't get me
actual
wrong, like
class.
organic chemistry is one of my favorite classes I took in college. It literally was. Organic chemistry and biochemistry. I actually do love them. But that's weird having that in high school.
Yeah, like there's a club, and I think because the people that had already taken chemistry and AP chemistry were trying to get like an organic chemistry class to be like made or something, but I think they ended up not signing off on it for obvious reasons, because it's like it would only be like the top ranked kids that would do well in that class. Like at least with like AP chemistry, yes, it's hard, but people can scrape by with an A or a low A or a B, maybe even a high C. But if organic chemistry, and it'd be the same thing with physics, you'd have to start adding an 80% curve, and then it's like the class becomes less about.
There's a curve in college too.
Yeah, I know.
There's curves in everything.
Because it's so hard that it's so like
hard.
I can't imagine. Like, how are you gonna like?
It's because I think I have learned what the problem is. It's not even necessarily the difficulty; it's timing.
Yeah,
I've noticed it at least with college classes and looking back on high school classes, because they're trying to condense this curriculum of like this one, let's say physics class into 9 months or however long school is. Mm-hmm. There's not enough time to slowly teach you. Yeah. And so because you're rushing trying to learn this class, it's so much harder. If you maybe had like, I don't know, a whole year, just an extra few months to actually learn, it would not be that hard. And I think that's the problem. Like that is 9 months in high school, but now it's like 4 months in college. So they've now condensed like this extremely hard subject into 4 months. And so I don't know. Like, I think that I don't know how you would solve that, but I think that's the problem with most science classes. Yeah,
there needs to be more time. And honestly, that was my problem with the whole SAT, ACT, and even just state standardized
tests in general.
It's like you're asking at the end of the day, like you don't really need to be good at what is on the paper. You need to know how to crack the system, how to know what questions they're asking, and how to do it in a timely manner.
Yeah.
It's not even about, yes, I can solve this problem given time, but when you give me a minute and a half for this like calculus, geometry, algebra question where I have to find the angles and find X and all this stuff, I'm like, well,
what is it? Negative B plus or minus 4AC over 2A?
The quadratic formula.
I have that memorized.
I don't. I mean, I used to, but not anymore. But like, how in the world, like, do you say? And that's why, I mean, I know a lot of people do well on the SAT, but that's why it's like, some people study for 2 years for that test, and it's like, and they still don't get a perfect score. So that just shows you like kids, or not even kids, humans aren't meant to learn things
so fast.
Yeah, and they aren't meant to be like time, like, oh, you can only have 1 minute, 30 seconds. Because it's like some sections, it's like, I think on the ACT science sections, there's like 35 questions for 30 minutes. You literally have like 30 seconds for every question. And I'm like, that's insane to me. Like if that were a school test, like imagine the teacher teaches you curriculum like the whole year, whatever, and then you take a test and you have 30 seconds for a question. No way.
No.
Like, no. It's no. It's just not for it. Maybe for some people that's like, oh, I can do that quick, easy, done. Like, not for me.
No.
Nope. 30 seconds per question, that's no. I will never, maybe I can get a good score, but I'll never get a perfect score on a test like that. No.
No. And I think that's like leading into like that whole transitioning into like schools. It's like they don't prepare you enough. Like when you're going from middle school to high school and then high school to college, it's almost like they're like, oh, it's going to be harder. This is going to be more difficult. They like are like, they're saying all this stuff, but then they don't prepare you enough.
They don't tell you what is hard about it.
It's like I feel like that's the problem with the United States education system. One of the problems. There's many problems and there's many great things to it as well.
Yeah.
One of the failings is that there's not enough, I feel like, preparation for like students. And like we went to a pretty good, well, you're still in high school, but
Yeah.
I went to a pretty good high school. Like it's a very good education, very good curriculum, everything for public school. But even then, like it's like they didn't prepare you enough for that transition of like, oh, what's like going from 8th grade to 9th grade and then going from 12th grade to college or wherever you're going. Like I feel like there needs to be better, I don't know. I feel like if I could go back into high school, I would have I would have wished that I was more prepared for like that transition from going.
Yeah. And just like the time management of like going to like from like classes, like there needs to be like some type of preparatory class from middle school to high school. I don't know about, I'm assuming it's the same kind of for college, but like just going from like having like athletics, like when I, at least in my middle school, athletics for girls was like first period, but it was more, or no, it was last period and then it went into after school. And then for boys, it was first period, but like it could go before school. And it's kind of the same in high school, but in high school, they make it like a block. Like in my high school, we have A and B days. So you have 4 classes on A day, and they're an hour and a half for each of them. And then 4 classes on B day, and it's another hour and a half. And so the problem with that is if you take a sport, that takes up one entire block. That takes up one entire period. So that's an hour and a half in that sport you've just spent. And it's like no one prepares you for that in high school. And also no one prepares you for how long the classes are going to be. Like sitting there for 90 minutes, even as a senior now that I've been doing it for almost 4 years, it's still hard to get through some classes. Like some classes I'm like, we just go on and on and on. And we're talking about different things, but it's like the class feels so long. But like when I was in middle school, 45 minutes, bam, you're done. You go to the next class, like you're done. And like the end of the day, it felt like quick because you went to all your classes, you got all your homework, and then it was due the next day. The only good thing I will say is I get a buffer day in between to do my homework and study for tests.
That's a nice thing. Like I love that thing. Like I love that about like, at least in our high school, we had like an A-B schedule where it was like A-B. Every other day was a class.
4 classes, yeah.
And so, and which is honestly very similar to college. And I also wish, like, looking back, that like I'd prepared more mentally for like how that transition in college would be like, and how like you go to class 3 times a week and you go for maybe an hour and a half, very similar to high school, or our high school at least, and then like you have so much free time. And so, like, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that procrastination and, like, all of the studying habits and everything, it's really difficult to, like, get back into that.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, like, just with, like, the classwork, like, the amount of, like, work you get, I don't know, it depends on the middle school, depends on the high school. But for the most part, I would assume, at least for us, from middle school to high school, and also I was online for, like, half of middle school. But from
was it?
Well, I was in person 6th grade, and then halfway through 7th grade, COVID hit for me.
Well, it wasn't half. Oh, yeah, it was March.
Or almost the end of 7th grade. So for me, at least, I had a year and a half of middle school. And for the most part, I didn't really get homework. You know, you get 1 page, you know, to do the next class. And it's
page.
I
wish. I mean, like,
I low-key still get 1 page.
Technically, I am done with, like, you know, college and
undergraduate,
everything. Undergraduate. I plan on going to medical school, but it's like hearing that 1 page for middle school classes.
I was 11. Okay, but low-key, and in high school, I feel like that transition from 8th to 9th grade, no one really talks about. It's like you're literally thrusted into this giant school, because high school's, I'm assuming, is almost always bigger than middle school. You're thrust into this giant school. You're given a schedule. You have to find your classes, find your teachers. Sometimes you have a locker, and sometimes you're not used to that, depending on your middle school. And then you sit in class for an hour and a half, and you get like 3 or 4 pages of homework that are due in like 2 days. And you're like, wow, this is so much. We just learned so much. Like, you're not used to that transition, you know? And, you know, every once in a while, I still kind of get 1 page of homework, but then other times I get like 6. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, I just came from middle school.
I always told my sister when she was in elementary school, I was like, enjoy that time where like school doesn't matter. No one has any expectations for you because, and this is always like after like calculus, because I took up to calculus 3 in college and I was like, oh, I hate calculus. There's this one video of me, like literally like kicking our couch or something, or like hitting our couch, and I'm like, I hate calculus. I hate calculus.
I hate calculus, and I have an A in the class. I ended with an A for the semester.
Good job.
But also,
I always like B's in calculus.
A, B, which is like half a semester in college, and then there's calculus
so
B,
easy.
C.
I never realized how easy that was. Like, one semester of college in 1 year.
Yeah, I know that class is really easy. Like, I really shouldn't be like like the fact that I'm like I get like A's for the most part on tests, but the fact that I just sit there and like study this really hard, I'm like, man, imagine if I had taken BC or the real thing.
My gosh.
Oh no, I would not be in a good place.
Even BC though is quicker though, because BC in college would be the full semester, which would have been 4 months.
No, I think it's 1 year is what it's supposed to be.
Oh, you're right. It is 1 year. Yeah.
Because AB is half of a year.
No, you're right. It is BC. Something. You're right.
That's why BC again is so difficult for students, because they're giving this literal college class, and I know it's like AP is like advanced placement college classes, but it's like you're giving a little college classes that sophomores and juniors are taking in high school to kids, and it's like that's kind of overwhelming. And it's like, I know people in that class are like, I don't know why I'm taking this, but I'm not dropping. And it's like, that's when I knew I had BC on my schedule. I had calculus BC on my schedule for like a hot minute, and then I thought about it. I was like, why would I torture myself like that? I know I'm not going to do well in that class. I'm not someone that picks things up super quick, and I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm a natural at calculus, something I've never taken before. Like, it's not like algebra or geometry. And I just like to protect my peace. I was like, I will stick with AB. And guess what? I ended with an A. It wasn't easy, but at least it's like technically AP calculus, and it's easy enough.
And that's smart. Like, I think that's what you need to do. You need to be able to manage your time, but manage like your future and your life. And I think that we wish that there was that better like preparation of that transition into like the different levels of schooling, but like managing your life, managing your time, managing expectations, sports, music, extracurriculars, like just life in general. I think that is so important. And I wish that like back when I was in high school, back when I was a little 15-year-old kid, that I would have known that, okay, we like need to learn, because it's a learning thing. It's not just like one day you're just going to get it. Yeah. You have to really learn how to manage your time, manage your expectations, manage your life. And I think that if you could just remember that, if you could just remember, okay, learning to manage it, and it's not going to happen overnight, but learning to manage myself and who I am and like the things I'm doing will better prepare me later on in life. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, there's nothing better than being prepared and knowing how to manage your time. That's going to benefit you literally for the rest of your life. In every job, every place you go, any assignment you ever have, that's going to stick with you. And if you can get that down freshman year of high school, good for you. It may take some of us a little bit longer. Yes. But yeah, that's kind of all we have for this episode. We hope you guys kind of enjoyed our high school experience, since I am also almost done. But, almost, and right to college. Some more work. More excited.
School. We love school.
Love school. But we hope that you guys, relate to us on some level, with our different ideas and our different opinions. But
and we hope this helped. I hope that like going into like whatever level of schooling or whatever stage of life you're in, like know that there are things that we could have done differently, and we hope that the mistakes and like the afterthoughts that we had that we didn't think of, that you guys can like learn from us and make sure that going into whatever stage of life you're going into, that you don't make the same like mistakes or setbacks that we did.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of all we have for today. We hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave us a positive comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms, and make sure to give us a listen on Spotify and Apple Music. And we'll see Apple Podcasts, but Apple Music's good too. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.